This is a quick intro to Anka Build product. Anka Build enables you to very quickly set up your own private macOS cloud on premise for your iOS and or macOS dev and test infrastructure. Anka Build uses Anka Hypervisor to virtualize the Mac hardware and creates macOS VMs, which are extremely fast performing because of its own paravirtual network and block drivers. Anka Build ships with two modules, Anka Registry and Anka Controller. Anka Controller is the management module for the macOS private cloud, and Anka Registry is the image management module. A typical setup of Anka Build looks something like this. Anka Registry is deployed inside a Docker container. Anka Controller is also deployed inside a Docker container and exposes its REST APIs for integration with third-party CI system. The Mac hardware is virtualized using Anka Build application and is able to talk to the Anka controller as well as the Anka registry. Anka Build can be configured in 4 simple steps. Step 1 is to deploy the Anka registry inside a Docker container. Step 2 is to deploy Anka controller inside a Docker container and then configure it to communicate with the Anka registry. Step 3 is to install Anka Build macOS application on all of the Mac machines that will be part of the macOS private cloud. And step 4 is when you would actually create your specific dev or test environment inside a Anka virtual machine and then push it to registry for use in your manual testing or for continuous integration jobs. Let's look at Anka Build in action. So in order to show Anka Build in action, I'm actually going to show you a setup which I have here. The Anka Build controller is installed in a Docker container running on an AWS instance. The Anka registry is also installed inside a Docker container and is running on AWS instance. I have here a small Python program that I wrote which calls the REST APIs of the Anka controller. The Python program is management control.py, and it basically instantiates or initiates requests to provision VM. And I'm using this so I can very quickly show you how you can provision VMs on demand on Anka Build. This Anka Build is configured on 2 Mac minis. So I can actually take a look at that because I implemented a list node command to tell me the nodes available in this particular Anka Build setup. And I can see here that there are 2 Mac nodes available and both of them are active. What this really means is these are the 2 Mac hardware on which Anka Build is provisioned, and these are connected or joined in a cluster with the controller. So when you provision VMs, the VMs are going to be provisioned on these 2 Mac environment. In my case, these are really Mac minis. Now let's look at if to see the controller queue and see if there's anything in the queue. So the queue right now is 0. So I am now ready to send some requests to provision VMs on demand. Now, which VM do I want to provision? I'm actually going to quickly look at the VM templates available in the Anka registry in this Anka Build setup. And I can see there are 4 VMs available. I'm actually going to provision this specific VM called June 14th build. And I can actually provision a specific version of this VM also, because for this VM, there are two versions that are stored in the registry, and I can take a look at that as well really quick. I will use the VM identifier here, and this will show me these are the two versions available. So I'm going to initiate request without specifying any version information, which means that it will actually use the latest version. So again, I'm using this simple Python program to initiate requests, which pretty much simulates a CI system initiating these requests when it is integrated with the controller REST APIs. I'm going to say start and use this identifier here. You'll see. So in a sequence, I'm just gonna start 3. Now, if I want to see what the queue looks like, I am going to go back to list. You can see here, 2 VMs have already started, one is scheduling. So these are VMs being provisioned on demand. Just to show you that it is actually being provisioned, I am actually going to VNC to this virtual machine that was provisioned as a result of my request. Now you'll see this is the virtual machine which was provisioned from my June 14 build VM templates. You can see there's another one that is provisioned here. The third one, let's see if the status changed, and it says that's already started. So I initiated 3 requests to provision 3 VMs, and I can see I have 3 VMs provisioned fairly instantaneously available for my CI build and test job. Demo of Anka Build in action. Anka Build also ships with the out-of-box plugin for Jenkins continuous integration system. Once you deploy the Anka Cloud plugin on your Jenkins master server, you'll be able to configure the cloud with these configurations. As you can see, you'll give the IP of the controller host, and then you can configure multiple slave templates corresponding to different VM templates available in the Anka registry, and use these slave templates for your specific Jenkins job. Out here I have 2 slave templates here with 2 different labels, and I'll be using these labels in my respective Jenkins job. Additional setup and configuration information for Anka Build is available on our website at virtu.com under documentation. And if you want to give it a try, you can actually download the Anka beta build version by registering at virtu.com.